My question has to do with an explanation in terms of Hades versus hell, paradise versus heaven, and also can you explain what Sheol is?
John, your thoughts?
Well, in Luke chapter 16, in verse 19, Jesus tells a story, and it's not a parable, but rather it's a story of the rich man and the poor man named Lazarus. And he tells of how that they both died, and that Lazarus went to a place referred to as Abraham's bosom, and that the rich man, went to this place of torment, this place of Hades or Sheol, this place of torment. And in other words, at that point, it was divided into two compartments. You had this place for the saints before the cross. Where did they go? Where did Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and David, where did they all go prior to the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ? Well, we believe they went to this place called Abraham's bosom. It was a place of comfort. Well, where did the unbelieving go? They went to the other side of that, which was a place of burning and torment. You remember that in Luke 16, that the rich man said, "Father Abraham, can you please let Lazarus dip his finger in water and just touch my tongue?" And he said, "We can't. There's a great chasm. There's a gulf between us. There's no way for him to cross back over." And then he said, "Well, can you send somebody back if somebody comes back from the dead, they can tell my relatives." He said, "They won't even believe that." And so you had this place divided into two compartments. Well, now you have Jesus dying. Jesus dies on the cross. He's there, and right before he dies, he says to the thief on the cross, "Today you will be with me in paradise." Well, where was that? I believe that is another reference to Abraham's bosom. He goes down there to this place, and he declares his victory over the devil, over death, over sin. He declares his victory. And 1 Peter chapter 3 in verse 19 says that he went and he preached to those who were in prison. He set the captives free. He descended into the lower parts of the earth, and then he ascended, taking at liberty all of those who were waiting, like Abraham, in faith for the Messiah to come. And he declared his victory. So that is the division of that compartment. I believe that Abraham's bosom is closed down. There is heaven, and there is this holding place when death and Hades is going to give up its dead at the great white throne judgment, and those that are waiting currently in torment, the final judgment where they will be cast into the lake of fire with the devil and his angels and the Antichrist and the false prophet, Revelation tells us. That's kind of an overview, Mike, on that particular question.
Just remember Sheol is the place of the dead. That's what it was called before Jesus died on the cross. Those that died in faith, King David, Elisha, all those that died in faith went to Sheol, the place of the dead, as well as the wicked went to Sheol, the place of the dead. And just as he said, it was divided in two compartments: the place that died, those that died in faith, and those that died in their sins. Now, when the ultimate sacrifice was made, Jesus died on the cross, we find there then that he preached to those in captivity, led captivity captive, closed that side of Sheol down. Paul now says to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. You don't go to a holding tank anymore because the ultimate sacrifice had been made. The blood of bulls and goats, Old Testament, could only cover the sin. It could not remove the sin. That's why Jesus had to come. That's why he preached to those in captivity. Now, those that are in the torment side of Sheol, that part that's not closed down, their works are still being racked. Now, what I mean by that is this. Think about a person that started a cult. Maybe there was only 25, 30 people when the cult started. Now there's millions of people. That person's going to have a very hard judgment. Just because a person dies does not stop their wickedness that they set into motion while they were on this earth. The Bible talks about those that love and maketh a lie. Hey, listen, that's what we see today. They're long gone. They're dead. Their philosophies are in the music, the lyrics, and the songs that people are beginning to believe or have believed. Well, the thing is, they've been dead for years. But now we're still listening. Well, if you can't be with the one you love, love the one you're with. Well, I would sure hate to stand before God and give an excuse for why I put that in a song. That's not what the Bible says. So when we really look at all these things, it continues to rack. The end of all humanity, all works have come to full fruition. The great white throne judgment. The books are open at the end of the 1,000-year reign of Christ. After the tribulation period and after the 1,000-year reign of Christ, the books are open. Those names that are not found written in the book of life are cast in the lake of fire, which burns forever and ever. Jesus spoke, some will be beaten with many stripes and some with few. It's all going to be hell. It's all going to be a lake of fire. But it seems that there's going to be degrees of punishment in that eternity. That's why you want to be forgiven, that all your past sins are gone. Not only are you forgiven today, but that which when you die, they will not continue on. That's what's good news. And you can lay up for yourself treasure in heaven right now. Now, when Jesus said, today you'll be with me in paradise, I believe he was speaking of this place of Abraham's bosom. Not because he wouldn't have gone directly to heaven, but I think that thief on the cross got to hear the message that he preached, Jesus preached to all those, King David, all those that died in faith. I think he gave them a real blessing, gave him a real blessing to be able to witness that, and then took them all to heaven. Now, heaven, though, is this place to where we go when we die, absent from the body, present with the Lord, but it's not our eternal home. That comes after the millennial reign of Christ, where the Bible says a new Jerusalem comes down out of heaven, and that is our eternal home. Old things have passed away, the earth has passed away, the old heaven, everything is gone, and God makes a brand new existence, world for all of us. Not round as the globe is now, but the Bible says it's square, maybe shaped like a pyramid. We don't know. It's 1,500 miles high, 1,500 miles wide. It's in layers, and this is where will be our final home. This is where the streets are so refined with gold that the light passes through it. There's no need for a sun because Jesus lights this world that we're all going to spend eternity in. Great place to be. Don't want to miss it for the world. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, real quick, just to confirm something you said. The Old Testament saints that went to paradise after the resurrection, they all ascended into heaven. Is that right?
Yes. That's why Jesus preached to those in captivity. He declared that the full payment had been made. He died for their sins, led captivity captive, took them out of there, closed it down. So now Paul says to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord.